Too often I see people online praise Australia's skilled migration program, and from a distance I can understand why they do so, but up close it looks very different. Here I'm going to show why it's a lie. In recent years, the Australian government has brought in around 200,000 people every year. That means that every decade Australia's population increases by 2 million immigrants. That's quite a lot in a population of 25 million. We are being swamped, and our parliament wants it that way. But one of the ways it has managed to keep the idea that we need more immigrants is the skilled migration program. The program works like this. Foreign people who wish to live in Australia must have a skill that is required in Australia. So you're an Iranian dentist and you want to live in Australia, then you can apply to move to Australia because you have a skill that is required in Australia. Dentistry. Of course, what they don't tell you is that this Iranian dentist, an actual man I once met, is that he must be qualified in Australia. But of course his degree was from Iran, so now he must spend years and lots of money to become qualified in Australia. It would have been better for everyone if he'd been told this while he was still in Iran. But the list of skills change. They need dentists, then welders, then some other skill. What it is a wish list consisting of short-term needs, but once they're here, it's up to them whether they stay or not up to us. Meanwhile, in Australia, we have hundreds of thousands of unemployed, and that's been true since the 1970s. We have more than 1 million students at Australian universities. We have somewhere around 500,000 international students. Now, if we add the unemployed to the number of Australian students, that means that we need nearly 2 million jobs created within the next 4 years. Assuming that all of those international students go home, but a major reason many come to study at an Australian university is so that they can claim permanent residence and live here permanently. Many of these international students become taxi drivers and security guards, jobs that are quite capable of being done by unemployed Australians. But when you have been studying for 13 years and you've been told constantly that you shouldn't settle for just any job, who wants to do those jobs? So we have a situation where the taxpayer pays to over-educate people so that they feel that ordinary jobs are beneath them, so that foreigners are brought in to push wages down and to keep our unemployment high. Working class jobs are then further eroded by being sent overseas or by forced diversity. In recent years, temporary workers have been brought in to replace Australians, and we are told that they will be paid Australian wages. We know that isn't true, and even if it was, it wouldn't be good enough. Further up the job market, the more educated you are, the more you must compete with the skilled migration. Why should an Australian have to compete for an Australian job with an immigrant? Any immigrant. Australia imports doctors. Why does Australia import doctors? Shouldn't a rich country like Australia be exporting doctors? We train Australians to be doctors at great public expense, and then import doctors from overseas. How much sense does this make? When people think of skilled migration, they think of very high-tech jobs that are very scarce in Australia, but that is simply not true. We have plenty of doctors and nurses, and if we had a shortage, we could train more. We have everything that is required. We don't need foreign welders, plumbers, or labourers. We have our own. And if we need more, we have everything we require to make more. There is simply no requirement for immigration when we have a large training and education sector and mass unemployment. Our loyalty should be to our own people, not to foreigners.